All right, I'm
going to listen to every show.
rolling.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1234.
Hey!
Oh, wow.
January 29th, 2024. I wonder if we'll break the high today. The record high is 49 degrees on this day in 1931. And it was as chilly as 29 below on this day in 1951.
And now, from the mayor's office, above the boathouse, on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic, with Rookie on production, Chris Reavers, director of social media, John Hyde in the newsroom, and occasionally Kenny from the Krabby Coffee Shop. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
They being the people who live around Potterhorn Park, have a sled fest in the winter, art sled rally. In the summer, don't they have the puppets and the funny things? And there's a story in Alpha News with a big picture of an art sled. In other words, a sled that's passing itself off as the locals have called it art. And it's a bunch of cardboard painted to look like bricks with flames coming off the top. Painted on the side of it is the 3rd precinct. And in the absence of snow, I guess it was pushed down the sidewalk or something, and a crowd that I'm looking at in the picture that's uniformly white is just having a good time laughing at this. They think there's a lot of chuckling. Engagement. It is. It's good community engagement. They're chuckling, and the kids are pointing, and it just looks great. So
fantastic.
The problem is in Minneapolis and St. Paul is not only who leads it, but who lives there. And if this is passing itself off as humor and artistic work, I would say that's a further indication that Minneapolis is a bit in trouble.
Well, when I saw the video online, I said, oh, that's why it's such an asshole. Okay, now it makes sense.
Those happy people are the happy voters of Mary and Ilhan, and Junior Mayor, and Rockin' Cows Governor.
All right, that leads me to a good point. We had the Reverend Tim on Friday, and many emailers have weighed in, including former State Senator Dave Osmick, who wants me to know he bought his own stationery. For some reason, I gave him grief about when he left, he took stationery with him. He purchased that stationery. He wants me to know that.
Just so you know.
Right. But many emailers weighed in on this, and I'm going to condense it. Their objection to Tim, not their objection, their criticism of Tim's appearance. I can get that down to one line. Tim kept saying, we need Republicans to address the crime issue. We need to sit down with Republicans. Tim, there aren't any. I should have noted that Friday. There aren't any. That's the problem. The Minneapolis City Council is virtually all Democratic socialists. The mayor is a progressive. The governor and the legislature are all progressives. The St. Paul City Council includes among its members Democratic socialists. There are no countervailing voices, Tim. I'm not sure that would be the solution to the crime problem in Minneapolis. Wouldn't necessarily be a sit down at any table, regardless of who sat there. But in the event that you think it's Republicans, Tim, you have to disabuse yourself of that notion. There aren't any. And that pretty much sums up.
To the point where we had to beg that Fry was going to get reelected.
Yeah. That pretty much sums up the emails. We appreciate Tim's good work, and he's a friend of the show, but he didn't make any sense Friday. And emailers were reflecting that. They did so civilly, but it boils down to, Tim, there aren't any Republicans. We wish there were. There aren't any. That's the problem. And I've got so much that I just don't even know where to begin. Do you know that Minneapolis made the bedbug list?
Oh, is that good or bad?
Well, that's a bad thing.
Okay.
This is from Daryl, who writes, I bring you great news. This past week, I ran across an interesting press release from Orkin Pest Control. All right. On January 22nd, that would have been just last week, Orkin released its annual top 50 bedbug cities.
A week ago today.
For 2024. The bedbug cities list is based on treatment data from the metro areas where Orkin performed bedbug treatments. The ranking includes both residential and commercial treatments. The winner in 2024 was Chicago.
Oh,
they're the bedbug capital. That's old news. Chicago has been number one in the bedbug world for 3 years in a row.
Wow. They must be proud.
And no surprise here that the list contains many blue cities. The closer you get to the country's tallest buildings, the more likely you are to find bedbugs.
Good for Orkin.
Right. The big news, Mr. Mayor, is that Minneapolis finally cracked the top 50 bedbug list for the first time, coming in at number 47. Just when people were saying that Minneapolis can't accomplish anything, Mayor Fry and the city council did it. Congratulations on that truly astounding achievement. One for the record books. Well done, well done. We may think that the city council's resolution calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is a waste of time. Perhaps not. It could become a catalyst for world peace. But Minneapolis now number 47.
How do you celebrate? Do we get a cake?
I think a giant bedbug statue should be created.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe in the Nicollet Mall. A bedbug doffing its cap the way Mary Tyler Moore
Or can
does.
we put it where the Columbus statue used to
We could. There's room on the Capitol grounds.
All right.
47 is nothing to be proud of. I think
let's go
Minneapolis could
here.
do a
How
lot
about
better.
this?
To do.
Let's go.
Bedbug Sled.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes.
To celebrate the bedbugs.
John, aren't you glad we don't do Krabby Coffee Shop anymore? Because we'd spend 45 minutes talking about that stupid topic.
At least.
Why we don't do Krabby anymore. Stories like that.
Hey, what happened to that show?
Yeah, I got sick of stories about bed bugs and stuff people put in their bottoms.
I get 5 emails a week from people, and I always blame Caddy. They always answer with, that figures.
I don't know.
100% me.
I don't know how he's signing his name now. Mid. Willard Anger. I noted with astonishment the map of damaged and broken streetlights put up by one of the local news outlets. I think it was Channel 5. Because I saw the same thing. There are a large number of lights that have been ravaged, and apparently this is not new. It raised some questions. None of the questions were addressed in any news report. First, how valuable is the copper these miscreants are stealing? I found about $3 to $5 a pound if I was reading the info correctly. You and your crack research staff can look it up if you'd like. How much copper is in a given streetlight? It doesn't seem like much, but then I'm not a criminal. It must be easy to get at. You'd need 100 pounds to get a 6-pack and a pack of Terrytons. Second, is there an alternative to copper? It's a good point. Last and most importantly, isn't this just the sort of thing city councils should be addressing? No, not our city councils. They have bigger fish to fry. This just occurred to me. What of the EV charging stations? Wouldn't those be full of copper? I have no idea.
I don't know.
Of course, the more people are not held accountable for their actions, the longer we will be without nice things. And that's true. Now, the copper theft in St. Paul is rife. It's happening.
There's everywhere.
You take off the bottom access plate, you go in and you snip some copper. I'm with Willard here. How much could that be worth?
I saw the mug shot of, there was one story that had the guy and the 2 gals in St. Paul. And the first thing I thought of is, how did these 3 idiots not electrocute themselves? Because they didn't look terribly bright. Yeah, they probably made off with $38 in copper.
Rook, I'll be getting to.
I'm ready.
I'll be getting to our gal here in a moment.
I just want one thing to say about St. Paul.
Yes.
This Saturday, I took in the Grand Day Parade. McLaren's balcony overlooks West 7th Street.
Yes, it does.
So we all went over there and had
That was the Grand Day Winter Carnival Parade.
Oh, okay.
And it was fun. I saw our guy, Tommy, the Volk, the 20-year anniversary.
Yep.
You know what I didn't see? I didn't see Melvin Carter, the mayor.
Right.
He did not have any part in it. Yeah. I did not see any of the St. Paul City Council. You'd think that being such a big St. Paul event that they would have had a float for the new council or the mayor comes out there. No representation politically.
You're causing me to become very heavy.
Okay, I didn't mean to. That was an observation.
It's a good point.
Okay.
The closer you get to the country's tallest buildings, the more likely you are to find that the sitting political class would frown upon anything historically conventional about a city.
Ooh.
Just think about it. I mean, I'm sure Portland has, I don't know, Raccoon Days or something.
Riot Fest 2024.
And that they wouldn't attend that because that would speak to an older way. That would speak to an older way. And the Winter Carnival, God love it, is just a shadow of its former self because it doesn't reflect the modern sensibilities of, for example, in St. Paul's case, of an all-female city council, virtually all of whom, some of whom at least might have been born in St. Paul, but many weren't. And they have no interest in it. I'm sure they view it as being once male-dominated.
Oppressors.
And that's just what it comes down to. Any historical event in a city that has a long-standing tradition, including in St. Paul's case, the 4th of July has been ignored by the sitting political class because it's beneath them. It doesn't entertain their vision of how we should be living in rags and all working at the mop factory. It's just not their cup of tea.
Joe, how long before the council and the mayor decide it's time to shut down the Winter Carnival festivities?
They probably will never shut it down. What they do is just completely ignore it. Yeah. Completely ignore it.
How do you think Melvin would like being the mayor of my town, where my mayor, when it snows, he gets up at 3 in the morning, gets in the front end loader, starts pushing snow around to have the city streets cleared by the time the sun comes up. Do you think Melvin would do that?
No. But, look at plowing and the trouble. There's nothing wrong with the plow jockey St. Paul has.
Right.
We have plows and we have guys that can run plows. But look at the trouble there's been with plowing.
Well, in fact, there was a T-shirt. It'll melt.
Yeah. The trouble we've had with plowing is that even plowing is an old affectation of convention.
Yeah.
And what hurry does the current crop of the political class have to get to work?
Well, they're all working from home.
Think about it that way. They either work very lightly, very casually, or they don't even bother to go to the office.
No, they're working from home.
So what urgency do they have to place plowing? Well, get right back to streetlights.
Okay.
And streetlight maintenance at the top of their list when there's Gaza to worry about, when there's pronouns to worry about, when there's equity, diversity, and inclusion to worry about. You people in your streetlights and your unplowed streets, you're a minor inconvenience to us. We have much more meaningful things to apply our energy to. So I'm glad you asked the question.
Okay.
It led me to deep thinking.
Excellent. I like to do that every once in a while.
That's a new
I'm done
one.
For 2024.
That's a new one for GL. The closer you get to the country's tallest buildings, any long-standing celebration in that city that reflects convention and tradition will gradually, if not already, have fallen completely out of favor with the people who currently run that city.
Could I add one thing to that too?
Yes.
I grew up in a place that's not close to tall buildings, right?
Right.
And I have my 50th high school reunion coming up a year and a half from now, and they scheduled this past week that we're going to have it over the July 3rd, 4th, and 5th weekend in 2025 because Mandan, North Dakota is festive on July 4th. You cannot believe how festive it is. So a year and a half in advance, we're planning that because of July 4th.
And you, or Mandan, is one hell of a long way from the country's tallest buildings.
Way far away.
And there you have, and there's what you get. when you're away from the country's tallest buildings. Let some of these purple-haired people go to Mandan and try to run their BS at the city council. They'd be shouted down or laughed down.
Purple-haired Mountain Dew drinkers.
What else are you far away from? Like running water in Mandan?
Hey, that's a lovely city. Leave it alone.
Toilet paper.
Oh, you bastard.
Run down to the pump and get some water, Dan.
Well, now I'm kind of sorry I brought the whole thing up. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not making sophomoric light of Mandan the way these other idiots are. I happen to like that. Now, when it gets festive in Mandan over the 4th, I bet it includes a rodeo of some sort.
There is a July 4th rodeo, and the parade is 3 hours long. It takes 3 hours to get down Main Street. We got car shows during that time. We get they close down Main Street. They put cars on the main. Oh, it's wonderful.
I've been to the 4th of July parade in Crosby Ironton. It's endless. It's all the city plows and trucks and fire trucks and cop cars and people in Model Ts, and it's just and Amy Klobuchar, the year I happened to be there, was smart enough to show up. She's no dummy, giving the big wave to the people.
I was at a rodeo on July 4th in Steamboat, Colorado, and
that's where to be.
You had every kind of walk of life there, from the far right to the far left, and purple-haired Mountain Dew drinkers, and everybody got along and dug the rodeo, and they dug the 4th of July, and I'm pretty sure everybody there was higher than hell.
Could be.
We're talking about parades. One item in the parade, in the Grand Day Parade, it was a flooring or furniture store truck. I won't name them, but we weren't really sure if they were part of the parade or not. Like if they just got lost.
They're trying to get to a job.
The truck looked like it had been through a mud puddle. They didn't even clean the truck. It looked rode hard and put away wet.
The Winter Carnival.
Exploring. Dang it, where are we?
The Winter Carnival, and particularly the parades, are a microscopic look at what's happened to this country. It's absolutely fascinating. If you go back into the 40s, 50s, even go back to the 20s and 30s, hell, the carnival started in about 1888 or 1889. But go back to just the 50s. Every major business in St. Paul was represented in the parade with extravagant floats and costume people, and then the railroads had marching units, and the bands were plentiful. The parade used to start at Summit and Dale. Okay. Summit and Dale, work its way past the cathedral, down the hill, through the auditorium, and back outside. All of that's gone because basically downtown is gone.
There wasn't one band.
When was the last year we did a castle?
Oh boy, it's been a while. This would have been this would have been a good year not to do one.
Of course, but would that have been the last year before the decline of interest?
No, the interest was declining, and we still had a few palaces show up over the past few years. But I predict those days are done because it's expensive and there's no interest.
Sure,
that was on that empty lot right by Excel. It's now occupied by what? Parking building ramp. Or a parking ramp or something?
It's a hotel, and what is it? The new restaurant is there.
The last great palace was probably at Lake Phelan.
I think so. That was 80.
Oh, that was a good one.
Well, and there was another good palace in 91.
Downtown.
On Harriet Island.
Okay.
Oh, there was a Whopper Phelan. There, Joe, mid to late 90s, right in downtown St. Paul.
But look at the timeline. You're getting to be 35 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. You didn't have to say that.
Did anybody watch any of the Barrett-Jackson auction over the weekend?
A
couple of minutes.
Yeah, I did too. I did not see this go across the block. I knew it would. Trump owned, I don't know how long, but Trump was the owner of a 1997 Lamborghini Diablo VT 2 owners ago. So 2 owners have owned it since Trump sold it. The average auction value of a 1997 Lamborghini Diablo is $174,000.
Okay.
Some sap bought this. And obviously because
He owned it.
of Trump's connection to it,
Right.
1.1 million.
Wow.
Oh
What
my.
else is he going to have
Holy
to sell?
moly.
He's going to have to start selling a lot of stuff.
Right.
I personally would not have wanted that car, particularly for 1.1 million. It's cool though. It was kind of a weird baby blue, kind of a robin's egg. No, is robin's egg blue light blue?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's kind of a light blue. It was a handsome car. I saw a picture of him standing with it in a gas station. I thought that might have been part of
Eating
the
a roller dog?
meeting. That was probably part of the auction paperwork that went with it.